I've confronted hundreds of men over 2 decades. Men online looking for children to sexually assault.
Well, Cody, I'm Chris Hansen.
I know who you are.
I tried to get into their heads and understand why.
But you have it on your phone.
That's true.
And ultimately make sure they face justice.
Can I just give you some money and leave?
I don't want money. I want the truth.
These are the predators I've caught. I'm Chris Hansen. Call me Daddy. Well, yes, it's the name of a very popular podcast. You probably know all about it, but it also is a phrase that I hear frequently during our takedown predator investigations. Some of these men, and we'll discuss one of them in this episode, have a fantasy that demands their target, the child with whom they want to have sex, the child they want to exploit, calls them daddy. We saw it last week in Louisiana, where I was shooting a takedown investigation. 13 men surfaced, including a medical doctor. That's right, he still had his identifying fleece on, linking him to the medical practice for which he works. He was a nephrologist, a kidney doctor. We also had military men. We had a man from Yemen who went in and really tried to hug and kiss this girl. And just this morning, I'm in El Paso, Texas, by the way, as I speak to you. Just this morning, we were out with ICE and Homeland Security, among other law enforcement agencies, going after predators who happen to be in this country illegally. Now, I'm not talking about the fellow who didn't check the right box, who is working in a factory along the border here. Somebody who has obeyed the laws of the United States, paid Social Security and paid taxes. I'm talking about bad people who shouldn't be here. And in fact, the man we grabbed this morning pleaded guilty to charges associated with sexually exploiting his then stepdaughter. We went to the home where we thought he was living. He wasn't there. Then we learned that he was actually reporting to the local sheriff's office here as part of his sex offender registration. He's now in custody. I interviewed him just a few hours ago. He claimed that he never did it, even though he pleaded guilty to it. I don't think he's going to be in the United States for too much longer, but that will be up to a judge. Anyway, call me Daddy. That was also what a predator named Wesley Beehn demanded of someone he thought was a 15-year-old girl. Wesley was arrested in a sting operation in the summer of 2024 in Genesee County, Michigan. Sheriff Chris Swanson's ghost team. And we were embedded with them. We set up in a small, modest home in a middle-class area of Genesee County, near Flint, north of Detroit. And here comes Wesley, chatting away, thinking he's going to pay a 15-year-old girl for sex. The chat is very quick. He was what we call a fast mover. Very fast for someone who was then 61 years old, about to turn 62. Wesley was a mechanic. But on this day, he was speaking graphically to a child who he wanted to exploit. His opening line was something to the effect of, "Hi, I want to taste your box, and I want you to suck daddy's cock." How's that for an opening line? Pretty graphic, if you ask me. He asks the decoy to be daddy's girl. He talks about oral sex. He talks about performing and receiving. He sends a picture of him sticking out his tongue. All of this recorded by a deputy, a lieutenant with the sheriff's office who was posing as the girl. And sure enough, here comes Wesley Beehn. Very excited. And what's interesting about these stings is when the alleged predator actually sees the on-site decoy. Now, depending on the setup and what we know about the predator's criminal history, it's not always feasible to allow the on-site decoy posing as the child to have an interaction. Law enforcement likes to do it because it shows intent. It shows the real predator. It shows him being excited, him talking to the girl or the boy. It shows intent. Sometimes it shows how comfortable these predators are, indicating maybe this isn't their first offense. But check out Wesley as he comes in and realizes there is a girl.
Hi. How are you?
You are for real.
I mean, why would I lie to you?
That's right. You are for real.
Oh my God, it's just taking a chance seeing younger girls like that.
Taking a chance with younger girls like that. Now, what Wesley will later tell me is that he's obviously taking a chance because he knows what he's doing is illegal with somebody who would be 15, but also being lured into some sort of a trap, something that would be set up online to bring a guy in who's interested in this predatory sexual contact and maybe being robbed or taken advantage of in another way.
Yeah, no worries here. Oh, so if you want, do you want something to drink?
No.
Okay. All right.
I forgot. Who's this truck out here?
Hey, Wesley. Wesley starts to get a little anxious. He's left the pop, the soft drink bottle. We say pop in Michigan, and this happened to be in Michigan. He left the Faygo pop in his vehicle. Now, there is a chance he would have gone out to get it and come back in the house. He started to ask questions about another vehicle nearby. And I took that opportunity to go out and confront him. I didn't want to take the chance of him trying to run. I don't think he would have gotten very far. In fact, I know he wouldn't have gotten very far. But this is my turn to come out and get him. I don't think he knew exactly who I was in this. I don't think he knew exactly who I was in the moment. I'm going to need you to come on over and have a seat right over there. Right now, please. Move right now. In the seat. Let's go. For a minute, I thought Wesley was going to make a run for it, so I didn't take any chances. Keep your hands where I can see them. Have a seat.
Oh. I didn't do anything. I just went over and brought her a pop.
Wesley is compliant. He takes a seat and right away starts to spin his story. I didn't do anything. I just brought her a pop. Yeah, right. Okay. You're Wesley, right? Or maybe I should call you Daddy?
No.
Daddy? Daddy is what you referred to yourself as in the chat. How old are you, Wesley?
54.
54. And what do you do for a living, Wesley?
I buy and resell stuff.
Like what kind of stuff?
Recyclable stuff from junkyards and things.
Yeah. It turns out Wesley is a little older than 54. More about this predator I've caught in a moment. I've been investigating predators going after our children for more than 20 years. But did you know there are also predators who may be going after your own home, your biggest investment? Just think about this. When was the last time you checked your home title? That's the legal record proving that you own your home. If the answer is never, then this is for you. Scammers are stealing titles and your equity is the target. It happens all the time. Criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee to your county, and just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name. That's why I have partnered with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim. It's frightening how frequently this happens. Use my promo code Hansen at HometitleLock.com and you'll get a free title history report. Plus, you'll get a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's a 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. Go to HometitleLock.com and use promo code Hansen. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code Hansen, Hansen. We have it on our home. You should too.
Carriage and things.
Yeah. How does that work out for you as a job?
Not bad.
Not bad.
I don't really, lately I've been working on my truck.
Yeah. Is that what you're up to today? Just working on your truck?
Yeah.
He tells me he buys and sells stuff. Makes, some money doing that. Junkyards, automobile parts, and he's a mechanic. Okay.
Yep.
And then
I
what?
don't even really have any money. I thought, I didn't know what was up.
What was up? Yeah. Had you met women before online, girls online?
Not really.
No. It's a common answer, not really. Well, then why were you on this particular site, Wesley? The only reason you go there is to hook up, is to pay somebody for sex. I hear this a lot from the men I catch, the men I confront. I just went looking. I was curious. Some will tell me they were on a porn site and the pop-up just flashed in front of them and they hit on it. And sometimes that's true, but that doesn't create a defense for trying to meet a child for sex.
No, I'm shy. I don't do that type of shit
Right.
most of the time,
Yeah. What made you decide to do it today, Wesley?
I'm not really sure. I just, I guess I was lonely. And shit.
Lonely.
I don't know. But
Are you married,
wasn't even
Wesley?
gonna do nothing. No.
Yeah. Not married? Do you have a girlfriend?
A couple friends that are girls.
Couple friends that are girls, right?
Yeah.
How old are they?
One's like 37 and another one's close to 50.
50, yeah. Wesley claims he's never met anyone underage ever for sex. Now, you heard him say one of his friends who happens to be a girl is in her 30s and one is in her 50s. No laws broken there. And this girl today, how old was she?
That's why I kept asking her,
Right.
do you want to pop and stuff for her? Because you was 15. I kept saying on there, you're underage and everything.
Yeah, so you knew she was
I
15.
wasn't going to do nothing.
But what about all that talk about sucking daddy's cock, Wesley? That doesn't sound like you weren't going to do nothing.
I
No.
just had a pop out there for her.
Well, how do you square that, Wesley, with your first line in the text, which was, hi, I want to
Well,
taste
it
your
was
box
just a
and will you
girl
suck
and
daddy?
there
You
was
said you
no-
wanted to taste her box and you wanted
Right.
her to suck daddy. That's your line. That's your opening line, Wesley.
I was just horny.
Just horny. How many times have we heard that before? As if that would be a justification for sexually exploiting a child. Just horny.
That's what they said on there. I never knew her age.
No,
or
that's what you
anything.
said.
I know, but I didn't know her age or nothing.
Yeah.
At that time, I just thought she was one of the escorts. There's a lot of them on there.
And Wesley makes it sound like he wants this to be a continuing relationship, at least in the chat. He's not so sure anymore now that he's met me. Can you be daddy's girl? You ask.
None of it. It's just like a fantasy, but I didn't know until she told me it was
Mm-hmm.
15. I kept telling her, you're underage and everything. I told her that in the text.
But here you are.
But The door was open. I didn't
Yeah, the
know
door was
what to
open.
say.
The door was open. What, if it was locked, you would just go away, Wesley? No, you would have knocked. And then you would have come in. Did anybody make you come in, Wesley? Did anybody make you come in?
No.
No, you came in. And when you came in, tell me your reaction when you saw this girl.
I didn't really say anything.
Yeah, you did. I heard you. Don't lie to me, Wesley.
What did
You
I
said,
say?
oh my God, you're real. Relieved
said-
that you had found this girl
I said,
in this home.
Hey, you are real.
You are real.
Wasn't a setup or nothing when I met. I told her I was going out to get the pop, her
Yeah.
pop and that.
Right.
Bring it to the door for her.
Yeah. So Wesley wants me now to believe that he was just a delivery man, that he didn't mean all that daddy sex talk. He was just there to drop off a couple pops and be on his way. But you came here after you sent a picture of yourself, Wesley, sticking your tongue out. What did you want to convey with that picture?
That is just my pictures on there.
Yeah, just your picture with your tongue hanging out.
Just stuck out.
Yeah, just stuck out. You talked about a price for oral sex, Wesley. How much were you going to pay for oral sex today?
I don't know. She was saying 40,
40.
30 and all that.
Did you bring money?
In the truck,
Yeah, you brought money in the truck.
but it's in the visor.
Yeah, okay.
Ain't with me.
And then you say, Wesley, you're really sexy for your age.
I wasn't intending nothing. I didn't even know what was going on.
You didn't even know what was going on.
I just brought
So what about all this sex talk? You made it pretty. Your
Like I
opening
said,
line was, I want to taste your
horny.
box and I want you to suck daddy.
I was just horny.
You're just horny. Just horny isn't going to cut it. And Wesley is going to find out that the justice system, the prosecutors and sheriffs in Genesee County, Michigan, aren't going to stand for it either. We'll get to that in just a little bit. If what you've heard shocks you so far, join us back in a moment. So if you're just horny, then how can you possibly tell me you didn't mean anything? It sounds like you found this girl who told you she was 15 and you came over here to have sex with her, which is illegal. Wesley, tell me, look at me. Am I wrong?
No,
No,
you're right.
I'm right. So what should happen to you, Wesley?
I don't know. I'll tell you right now, I knew what was up before I even come.
You knew what was up. And I hear this a lot as well. I knew what was up before I came over. Then why do you do it? And I still don't have a good answer for that, except for my sincere belief that once these guys get this fantasy going in their minds, that they can't let it go. They can't get it out of their heads. They have a predisposition and a fantasy to have sex with a child. For whatever combination of reasons, it turns them on. This is the same kind of guy who, if he had money, would go to Thailand or Cambodia to exploit children. Colombia is another area where this happens. But when they see the opportunity in their own backyard, they're going to take it. Now, maybe they haven't thought it through. Obviously, they haven't thought it through. The consequences of it. They're going to try it, but I guarantee you this. If they got away with it once, they'll try it again. There is no doubt in my mind. And if given the opportunity, they would leave a trail of young victims. And that's exactly what it appears Wesley was going to do on this afternoon in Genesee County, Michigan.
You're underage,
Right.
but
you came anyway. What does that mean? What does that say about you, Wesley, that you knew something was up and you
I
came?
ain't that bad of a person.
You ain't that bad of a person.
I mean, what do you want me to do?
I want you to tell me the truth as to why you thought it was okay to come over here to have sex with a 15-year-old girl. Explain that to me. I'd really like to know.
Really gone.
I know, but that contradicts what you said in the chat.
Before.
You never did it before.
None of this shit.
So you're working on your truck and you said, "Oh my God, I'm gonna go have sex with a 15-year-old girl today."
I don't know. I wasn't really.
Well, you sure looked excited when you walked in here, Wesley. Remember? Wesley said, "Oh, you're real." He was gonna score.
Why did I say I was
Daddy
gonna go
this,
back out
daddy
to
that?
the truck?
Well, because you're going to get some money
No.
and her pop.
Just the pop I got.
That doesn't get you off the hook, sir. Do you have kids of your
What do you
own,
want me
Wesley?
to do?
Would you have kids of your own?
A 29-year-old that's grown up. with
That's
a
grown up.
grandkid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have grandkids.
She's married, only got one.
Yeah. How old's the grandchild?
5.
5. And I suppose by now, not shockingly, we learn that Wesley has a daughter and Wesley has a grandchild. How must they feel about learning he's in this situation on a summer afternoon in Michigan? Which begs the question I often ask of these men. All right, so let's just say you had a grandchild who is 15 and a fellow your age came over here after a sex talk like this. Would you be okay with that?
No.
No, you wouldn't. So why is it okay for you to do it, Wesley?
I really didn't do nothing but come over here, sir. I'm telling you the truth.
What do you think would have happened, Wesley, had I not been here and had a 15-year-old girl been here? You looked awfully excited when you saw the decoy girl.
I wouldn't have did anything.
You wouldn't have did
I'm a
anything.
Person, I'd have definitely, found out what was happening.
Yeah, and what was happening was you came over here looking for oral sex from a teenage girl. That's what was happening, Wesley. Wesley continues to deny that he would have actually had sex with the girl. But his chat, his trip over on this day, indicates otherwise, and the chat is enough evidence to charge him with multiple felonies related to trying to exploit a child for sex, using a computer to exploit a child for sex, and traveling to have sex with a child. When men attempt to turn fantasy into reality, it's a frightening scenario, one that Sheriff Swanson and Ghost are determined to expose in order to fight crimes against children. He had a very graphic conversation with someone he thought was 15 years old. The first comment in the chat was something to the effect of, "I want to taste you and I want you to do this to me." And he refers to himself as daddy.
Yeah.
He walks in, sees the decoy and says something to the effect of, "Oh my God, you're real."
Real.
Sheriff Chris Swanson has dealt with hundreds of these cases, and that's why he's so dedicated and why he's dedicated his ghost team to make these arrests, to conduct these stings. He understands what goes on in these men's minds.
It matched the fantasy with reality. And when those things connect, there's nothing else on his mind except for that. And that's what he did. That's a very common relationship to sexual fantasies, is people love, I talked about the authority, and you've seen it before, the dominance, that father-daughter, son type dominance, that's part of the whole fantasy. That's why they immediately go into the role. What you saw was a guy that was different than when he walked in that door. He clicked into that, and he saw that victim, that 15-year-old, as, we're gonna role play, and I'm gonna be the superior, and you're gonna be the subordinate, and we're gonna have this to fulfill my fantasy. Remember, these victims are all property to them. They're assets. They don't even see them as human beings.
I don't think Wesley's going to end up being very dominant anymore. You know, we often talk on this show about, does the punishment fit the crime? Well, I think in Wesley's case, it does. Some of these men are sentenced to probation and registration as a sex offender, and that in some cases represents justice, even though it's frustrating, even though Many of you and I think that they should go to prison. But in this case, Wesley is going to prison. He was arrested after the sting, of course. Charged, as you know. He's pleaded no contest and was sentenced just about a month ago, a little more than a month ago, to between 48 and 240 months in prison. That's 4 years, or maybe more, depending on how he behaves, to prison, minus the 347 days credit for time served. When he gets out, he will have to register as a sex offender. We'll keep you posted right here. As always, we are curious about where our most notorious predators are now. I know you are too. And that's one of the reasons we partnered with truthfinder.com to track down predators we've busted over the years, to give you the facts on their past and the scoop on what happened to them after our show. This is your weekly Truthfinder Predator Update, brought to you by our friends at truthfinder.com. We took a closer look at Wesley Beehn. And it's interesting to note that, in fact, he, according to our Truthfinder deep dive, has never been in trouble with the law before. And of course, as we mentioned, there is a note of some criminal charges, and we have confirmed independently the sentence and the plea deal that we spoke of earlier. But I always like to take a look at Truthfinder, and it's so incredibly helpful, especially during our investigations, because it allows me to know who's coming in before they get there. Now, law enforcement does these background checks too, but it's interesting to note that sometimes Truthfinder tells me something law enforcement doesn't know about. And in fact, we share that information to know more about the predators we catch and to protect ourselves from the unexpected. To get the answers you're looking for and to discover information on potential predators, go to truthfinder.com/predators. More of our story in a moment. As you know, I like to hear from you. And this week's question comes from Nathan in Massillon, Ohio.
Hi, Chris. This is Nathan from Massillon, Ohio. I'm a longtime fanatic and a TruBlu subscriber. My question is about a very specific few seconds in the uncut video of your interaction with Joshua Colon, the plumber that you busted in Connecticut who wanted to be called Poppy. You start talking with him, and mid-conversation, the decoy emerges from the room that she hid in, and she takes his keys off the table, and then she disappears with them. And I thought that was a really savage moment that I think very few people have seen, and I think it deserves more appreciation. So I'm wondering, what's the story behind that? Because I haven't seen anything like that in any of the other videos. Also, on a more playful note, have you ever thought about what actor would play you if they made a movie about your career? I personally think Glenn Powell would be a great man for the job. Thank you so much for all you do, and I look forward to continuing watching your videos.
Excellent question, Nathan, and I appreciate your attention to detail. I had forgotten about that. 10 years ago, during our Hansen versus Predator investigation in Fairfield, Connecticut, you're absolutely right. In the course of my interview with Joshua Colon, the plumber, our on-site decoy, very bright, talented young woman who we borrowed from a nearby university. She was fantastic, by the way. She went in and grabbed the keys to Colon's vehicle off the table. And the reason why she did that was because there was another predator about ready to pull up, and we needed to move the vehicle. And the easiest way to get the keys for the Fairfield Police Department was to have her go in and grab them and hand them to the police officers and detectives to move the vehicle. Colon was later arrested, as you know, and you can see that uncut video on TruBlu. Thank you, Nathan. In terms of a movie, it's interesting you bring that up. There's a film out now about the whole Predator series. And it comes out very soon, I believe, on MTV Paramount. And David Ossett is the director, and I cooperated in the project. I've talked about it here. And I actually interviewed David Ossett on Have a Seat with Chris Hansen, my other podcast, which you can take a look at. But in terms of a major motion picture, I think there might be one in the works. Now, they haven't reached out to me. And I have no confirmation of this, but there have been rumors that a studio called A24 is working on it, along with an actor named Robert Pattinson, who you will likely know. He's been in a lot of different films over the years. So that will be interesting. I don't know if they're using my name, if they're using the title of our investigations over the years, whether he plays me, but I am told, I'm led to believe that he's involved. So maybe they'll reach out, but I'll do some digging and let you know. Thank you for that, Nathan. You can find me all over social media at Chris Hansen on X, official Chris Hansen on Instagram, Have a Seat with Chris Hansen on TikTok, Cameo should you desire, and on my streaming crime network, TruBlu, TruBlu. Watch TruBlu.com for details. New Takedown investigations, our Predator investigations, drop every single Thursday. So check those out. We have many more to come, and many more predators to expose. And as always, you can reach me right here at chris@predatorpodcast.com. I'll be watching and listening.